Good afternoon, guys. It's live Q&A Thursday. So, if you've got questions, you can ask them in the chat. If you don't, I'm going to go through the questions that have been posted today and maybe discuss a little bit about the concept of suffering, because that came up earlier in the group today with a post from Don Ruiz Miguel, if I remember that right, because he's the author of the 4 Agreements and also the 5th Agreement, and then the Tao of Love or something like that. But he's very well known in the self-help circles, so I want to talk a bit about that. So our first question, hi Marion, our first question today is, how can I deal with worry, especially when it wakes me up? So we're asleep and we wake up and we start getting worried. Worry is an important function. A lot of people are like, you shouldn't worry, worry is useless. I've even said that word, worry is useless. Worry is actually a very useful kind of signal to us. It tells us that our brain's anticipating something, that we're dealing with an aspect of hypervigilance. So, rather than try to make ourselves go back to sleep, the nervous system is in an aroused state, it's energized. So let's ask it what it needs. What is it trying to tell us? What's this worry about? Oh, am I worried about this will happen or that'll happen, or I'll have to deal with this, or this will go over here, blah, blah, blah. And then those are situations, but internally there is a need we have in response to that situation. And often it's about feeling safe. It's about feeling okay. It's about feeling protected. And so you want to, when you wake up and you feel worried, tune in, take a moment if you can, and tune into the worry and ask that part of yourself rather, what do you need? And just listen, lean in and listen. Because our needs, our awareness is a somatic experience. It's felt. It's not something we're going to figure out analytically. It's something we're going to become aware of by listening to ourselves, by listening to what comes up in response to the questions we ask ourselves. So, oftentimes what will happen is the awareness will come, then you can create a plan to deal with that, which can help increase your safety, which means it's safer to rest. And then you can go and do your thing. If it's a repeating worry, like this thing comes up a lot, or if it's on the scale of 0 to 10, if it's above a 6, 10 being I'm on fire, 0 being it's not a big deal, you're probably dealing with some trauma talking there, and we need to get in there and get some closure on that using the closure technique. So that's what I would be doing there with worry, and that's how I handle it. That's allowed me to break free of a lot of worries that really don't matter. I mean, I worry about what somebody would think. Big whoop. There's much more to do in life than worry about what other people's points of view are. But maybe there's a legitimate worry about business or one of my children or about things that are going on for me. Well, then yeah, let's hear it. Let's do it. So that's why worry can be useful. It can alert us to things we may not be consciously aware of. So let's see what's there, meet our need, run with it. All right. So second thing is about suffering, about pain. Because in a lot of times with alternative therapy, popular psychology, new age thinking, these kind of things, pain is seen as something that has to be overcome. It's something of a negative. It's a bad thing. We shouldn't have pain. You only have pain if you're doing something wrong or you're somehow not congruent. That's a very common theme. Whereas pain itself is just a reaction to a circumstance that hurts. Hurts either based on our beliefs about the circumstance or it actually hurts. Like, hey, you get dumped. That can sting. And that can have some meaning to it too. And this is where suffering comes in. So pain is a reaction to something that we feel hurts. Most of the time, pain is just, it's not something we choose. It's done for us. It's the way the amygdala, the nervous system, responds to something. But sometimes we get into pain and then we create a story about the pain. We start telling ourselves about why the pain happened. We start telling ourselves what the pain means. It means about the world. It means about that person. It means about myself. It means about life. And this is where suffering happens. This is where we have a power, we have a choice in this. So we can acknowledge that, hey, yeah, this circumstance hurts. I feel hurt by it. I feel upset by it. That's legitimate. Nothing wrong with that. It's human. It's normal. If you didn't feel that way, I probably wonder if you're healthy. Healthy people feel pain, right? So, but then there's the suffering. There's this programming we have in us that tells us to make meaning out of things and to make it significant. And this is where suffering shows up, because now we're taking pain and we're amplifying it in some sort of artificial way that doesn't add to anything. It doesn't solve the pain. It doesn't bring comfort to us. It doesn't exercise compassion. It's not looking for an objective point of view. It's typically about like, oh, let's pour more of this onto ourselves. And what does that get you? It's not gotten me anything in life. It's done very little for me. It has costed me a lot. It's cost me time. It's cost me health. It's cost me money. It's cost me relationships, opportunities. But it hasn't given me anything. So, if you find yourself chronically in suffering, like you're choosing things, you're telling yourself stories about what's going on that cause you more pain, then we need to look at a couple of things. One, we need to look at your false beliefs. What are you believing about this thing that may not be real? What assumptions, conclusions, judgments, and expectations are you putting on it? Check out your cage, per se. Okay? Second thing is, what need are you trying to meet by amplifying the pain? Because I know personally, I'd amplify pain in order to avoid action, in order to avoid more pain. Like, for instance, dating. Especially as a teenager, I would just not date because I didn't want to get rejected again. But that's not a good reason not to date. It's a bad reason. It's a terrible reason. Why? Because dating is the game of no until you get a yes. Either from, well, you get a mutual yes is really what you're looking for. So, maybe in business, right? If I constantly responded to the challenges that show up in business, I wouldn't be talking to you now if I didn't do that. If I made stories up about why the ad didn't work, or somebody said no, or somebody makes this comment on something that, on an ad, they're like, it's like, then why be in business? Now, we have to respond to and understand why we keep suffering, because there's that need in there. What is the need? Is it to feel safe? Is it to get attention? Is it to get compassion? I had that problem. I would create pain in my life so people would pay attention to me, because that's the only time I got attention growing up is when I was in pain. So I had this subconscious program showing up saying, hey, we're really doing well and nobody cares. Nobody's paying attention. I don't exist unless there's pain. So I would fall off a house or get sick or do something stupid that would hurt me. And then there's lots of attention at that point, right? So there can be an underlying need we're seeking in our suffering. It could be that kind of programming in effect. Third thing we want to do is explore how safe it is to give up the conclusion we're living with about the pain, to give up that story, to move back into power, because codependency, trauma, and all that are rooted in the experience of feeling powerless. We have concluded by the overwhelm of the situation, we're powerless, we can't do anything, and we get real comfortable there. So moving into power, moving into our authority, it's very, very challenging sometimes, and it can feel very isolating because we feel like it's cutting us off from what connection we do have, what comfort zone we do have, who we know we are as a powerless person. We start to wonder if we're safe. So I got to look at that too. Fundamentally, though, if you eliminate the trauma in the background, then suffering can go away. And then you can have clean access to your pain. You can feel what I call clean pain. Clean pain is just like, wow, that hurt. Clean pain is not shame. It's not guilt. It's not remorse. Well, it could be remorse. But it's not shame. It's not guilt. And it's not stories. It's not shoulds. It's not must have beens or I'm a terrible or they're this. It's like, that hurt. Because it's just oriented on what we feel. The genuine, like, ooh, that really is not fun. So, suffering isn't necessary, but it can be a program we're running in. Your pain is legitimate. Your trauma is legitimate. Your experience, your feelings are legitimate. They matter. But your suffering can become a choice when you identify that you're amplifying these things, and you can work out the underlying need that's behind it and find more peace. Because that's the whole point, right? It's everything, that's my goal at least, is finding more peace, more happiness, more freedom. And that's when I talk to you guys personally one-on-one, when I talk to you guys in the Codependency Confidence in our mastermind or the live mentoring hours, this is the common theme I get. I'm working with people in the Get Closure Now course. It's like, yeah, it's peace, freedom, and calm. And then out of that comes, oh, I want a relationship, or I want to build a business, or I want to take a cruise. You know, our dreams start to come out of that space. So what do you want with your healing? Where is it taking you? And is suffering getting in the way? So think about that. I appreciate you guys. Do you have any other questions? Because there aren't any other questions that I see. Let me pop out here and then down here. Yay. Let's see. Waiting. Oh, man, when I die, I hope there's a stat chart. Because I think most of my life is going to be like rooted in progress bars, right? You have progress bars and then bathroom time. Okay, cool. Yeah, no other questions. Thank you guys for showing up. I appreciate you. Feel free to share in the group. It's not just me posting. Share your stories, share your journey, share your questions, share your challenges. And if you need to vent, go to vent.freetheself.com and then just go at it there. You can get that anger, that frustration, all of that out there. But if you want guidance, you want support, you want mentoring, definitely post in the group. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for being part of our community. And remember that you're worth knowing, loving, and keeping. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow with Marshall's Minute. You guys have a good day. Bye-bye.